our theme this year is People Drive Prosperity. Well, it's also people who drive our sponsorships. And they are fantastic supporters of this organization. Many of them are in this room. I'm going to read out once again and recognize all of our sponsors. Our economic supporters, the City of Commerce City, CSU, and Tetra Tech are helping us out this year. Our economic partners, Colorado Educational and Cultural Facilities Authority, the City of Arvada, the City of Castle Rock, the City of Lakewood, Colabs, Comcast, Development Research Partners, American Company, NREL, and of course, Ports to Plains Alliance. Our silver partners, Upstate Colorado Economic Development, Tri-State, Metro Denver Economic Development Corporation, and University of Colorado Boulder. Our gold sponsors, OEDIT and the Denver Office of Economic Development, and our platinum sponsors are Brownstein Hyatt, Farber and Schreck, Colorado Workforce Development Council, Crazy Good Marketing, and our title sponsor, of course, is Xcel Energy. And we really appreciate the long-standing relationship we have with all of you. So if we could give them a round of applause. So I sort of lied. We're going to have a business meeting, but we're only going to talk about two quick things. Okay? The first thing is, if you look in your programs and go to the back, you will see there are different committees listed there. Okay? And these are the committees that I encourage any of you to get involved with. We have a very, very active board, and typically we do long committee reports and things like that. What we're going to be doing this year is primarily just talking about one thing, which I think is absolutely amazing this year. We are having some upcoming elections for our board of directors. And this year, and I've been involved with this organization for a long time, I've never seen this. We have 13 new nominations, people who have never sat on our board of directors who are running for office this year. So I'm going to go through that list. I don't think every one of them is here, but if they could just stand and be recognized as I list their nominations. So starting in the Southwest, we have two folks running for one position. That is Laura Lewis Marciano and Roger Zalanaridis. Roger, where are you? Thank you. Yeah. In the Southeast, we have Ryan Stevens with the Hunta EDC and Tammy Fields with Colorado Springs. In the Northwest, we have three people running for one position. We have Audrey Danner with Craig Moffitt. We have Caitlin Cook with Rio Blanco, and Rachel Lunny with Northwest COG. Did I do that right? That one's a little tough for me. In the Northeast, we have four people running for two positions. Dawn Adams with the town of Meade. Jacob Castillo with Larimer County, as he takes a sip of coffee. Darlene Carpio with Yuma. Darlene here. And Paula Maley with the town of Erie. There's Paula. We have three people running for one Metro seat, and that's Lee Seeger with Jefferson County, Gary Horvath with Gary Horvath Consulting, and Allison Tremblay with the City of Arvada. For our executive committee, we have one race for secretary, and that is Jeremy Reitman with Val. Reitman, Jeremy, are you here? I saw him before. And Matt Carlson with the town of Parker. I saw Matt, there he is. Running for treasurer, Sona Kendall with the City of Fort Collins. For vice chair, John Hall with the City of Westminster. John, we're so used to saying Parker, we're getting adjusted to that. And there's one other nomination which I get to just talk a little bit about, because don't give me the stink eye. I know what's going on. So for chair for next year, we have Kelly Flanagan, and she's going to stand up, and you're not going to get away that easy. I just really want to recognize the amazing amount of work that has gone into not only planning this conference, which none of this would have happened if it was not for her. But really helping steer the direction of this organization into next year in her position as vice chair. She handled the spring conference. She's been working on the organizational front with me, and I can't thank you enough. So. One of the really, really smart things that Kelly did, and as a board we wholeheartedly agreed with, it was to contract with Crazy Good Marketing to help us plan this conference. And not only have they helped us tremendously, they've also come in as a sponsor. So at this point, I'd like to call Melodie Reagan up to the stage to introduce our next speaker.
Good morning, everyone. I get the pleasure of introducing a thought leader in innovation. She is a treasure for Colorado. It is so amazing to me, the brilliant talent that we have in this state. I'm going to introduce Tamara Kleinberg. I'm going to go ahead and come up here for a second. And I want to just tell you very briefly about Tamara. In her 20 years, first off, she's the founder of the Shuuk. It's kind of hard to say, the Shuuk. In her 20 years, she has worked with companies such as Disney, Procter & Gamble, and the U.S. Army Innovation. She is one of the top speakers for Moxie, which is another organization that was started here in Colorado. She is just amazing. Her presentation, she's a TED Talk speaker, are watched over and over and over again. We're thrilled to have her here, but I love the way she likes her presentation started. I feel like I'm doing the same thing I did yesterday. What if you understood your strengths so you could work smarter, not harder? What would it be like if you could move past incremental ideas and unlock standout innovation in your teams? How would you feel if you could get ahead of the game? And with that, Tamara's going to come and share with us how we can all get ahead of the game. Welcome.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you. So I just want to start by saying thanks for having me. It really is an honor to be here. I actually moved to Colorado in 2001, and I've had the real fortune of doubling one business and starting another one from the ground up and raising a family here. It is a wonderful place for community and for business, and I think we can be even better, so thank you. You know, I was out in the hallway earlier, and I was talking to Jeff, and Jeff said to me, well, when's the first time you realized you were kind of zigging while everyone else was zagging? When was that first kind of entrepreneurial thing? And I had to think about it for a minute, and I realized it actually started when I was 14. So I used to love fashion. And we weren't wealthy or anything like that, but whatever money I did have went into clothing. So of course, I had closets full, and naturally, all my friends wanted to come over and borrow them. So I started renting them out. I even had a rate card, $1 for shirts, $2 for pants, and where I made my most money, a late fee of 50 cents a day. Because as it turns out, when you're 13, you can't drive yourself over to your friend's house to return their clothing. And I think we've all had those moments, haven't we, where we realized, hey, if I just go a little bit against the grain, a little bit against the crowd. And you know, by the time I was 27, I had jumped into and out of 7 businesses. And some of them were wild successes, and some of them were total bombs. And I think, in fact, today I'm going to share a couple of those mistakes along the way, because I think there are great, valuable lessons in there for all of us. But it's been my experience that if we're not constantly zigging while everybody else is zagging, if we're not constantly thinking sideways and really putting innovative thinking behind everything that we do, what we're really doing is settling for status quo, settling for business as usual. And I think all of us in the room know that that is the fastest path to irrelevancy. And what does status quo really look like anyway? I think it kind of looks and feels like being in that box, right? It's me too, it's cluttered, it's crowded, everything is kind of sucked inward. And if you're lucky enough to be some of the people on the leading edge, which I know given my conversation, some of you in this room are, I think you know how fast you can go from over here back into the box. So today, I want to talk to you about 3 ways to make sure that you are zigging while everybody else is zagging, making sure that you are being innovative and using that to harness and leverage yourself and gain that competitive edge. Now, I think all of that starts with creating cultures of innovation. And whether you are a team of 1 or a team of 10,000, including a community of 50,000 behind you, it starts with being able to foster innovative people and ideas. So the 3 tools I'm going to talk about are mindset, practice, and connect. Let's talk about mindset. So I knew this woman, Lisa, and I used to love watching Lisa work. And I first met her when I was interviewing for a job at this huge brand strategy and innovation firm in New York City. And I walked in for my interview, and I was so nervous. And I had on that, now don't judge me, it was the early 90s, but I had on that Ann Taylor bright red power suit that you were supposed to wear to get the job. The women in the room know what I'm talking about. And I walked in, and I said, hey, I'm here for the interview with Simon, the CEO. And she said, great, have a seat. And she took me over to that, you know that vinyl bench that I think every office lobby has? And she sat me down, and she went around the corner. And about 5 minutes later, she came back, and she said, Tamara, it's my job as the office manager to interview you, do a pre-interview before you talk to Simon. So we're going to sit down, and I'm going to ask you some questions. Is that okay? I was like, yeah, great. I'm in my 20s. I was like, I'm going to nail this. So we sit down. Her first question is, of course, what are your top strengths? So we're going on and on and on. And about 45 minutes in, she's asking me what I think is the last question at this point. And Simon comes barreling around the corner, and he sticks out his arm to me, and he goes, hi. And before he could even finish that, Lisa jumps up from her chair, wedges herself between us, throws the clipboard in his chest, and goes, Simon, here are the pre-interview questions that Tamara answered for stage 2 with you. Why don't you use them as a springboard for conversation? And then I'm not kidding you, she shoved us into the conference room. Now, I'm young and not really paying attention. I'm sure you guys are seeing what's going on here. And I'm thinking, nailed it, and oh my God, I'm not crossing this woman ever. So we go into the conference room, I meet with Simon, I get the job. 3 months later, I'm in that same conference room with Lisa. And I say to her, hey Lisa, I just wanted to let you know, I really love the interview process that you did. In fact, it's one of the reasons why I really wanted the job here. She started laughing. Do you know what she told me? You guys are nodding, you totally saw it before me. She totally lied to me. There was no interview process. Here's what actually happened. I walked in, she went to get Simon, the CEO. He had a million fires to put out, he was 45 minutes late. And she said to me something, though, at that moment, that I think actually changed the way I thought about my work and changed what I thought it meant to be innovative. She said, Tamara, here's the deal. I'm the office manager. It's my job to make sure things run smoothly and that we're all efficient. And I had one of 2 choices in that moment. I could have either let you sit there for 45 minutes because you would have, right? You're waiting for the job. Or I could have thought differently about the challenge at hand. And that's what she decided to do. She said, I wanted to come up with something that kept everything running smoothly and that made everybody look good. And I used to love watching Lisa work because at every moment she was innovating right there on the spot. No challenge, no opportunity crossed her path without her innovating against it. And if you go back and you ask Simon today why his company was so successful, he will tell you it's because of Lisa and all the things that she did. In fact, many of those in-the-moment innovations became best practices across the organization. And I think that's where all innovation starts. In fact, I think it starts with something that Lisa had, which was a blank piece of paper and a pen. Now, I should have warned you guys ahead of time. Some of you I talked to in the beginning know. I like to do things a little more interactively. So do you guys mind if we just have a little fun and do a little exercises? I mean, really? Let me try that again. Do you guys mind? Okay, thank you. That's so much better. Here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to pull out a blank piece of paper and a pen. Do that now. All right. I don't want you to move from your chair yet, but here's what I want you to do. I want you to be able to visually identify someone in this room that you do not know. And it can't be me. That's too easy. Okay? You might have to turn your head a little bit depending on where you are, so be able to identify someone in this room that you do not know. Everybody got it? Okay. I'm going to give you 90 seconds to draw that person. Go. All right, pencils down. It's like a test. Pencils down, shh. Now, I'd like you to get up and go show it to them. Oh, I know, it's horrible. Come on, get up and go. All right, let me ask you a question. What do you think I heard when I asked you to draw somebody? Oh, that's horrible, right? Like, where's the exit? I'm in the front row. I can't leave without her seeing. What do you think I heard when I asked you to show it to them? Oh, it was horrible. Like, this woman's heinous. Isn't it bad? But let me ask you a question. What do you think I heard as you were showing it to each other? Lots of laughter. It wasn't so bad, right? I love this exercise for so many reasons, but I caught it as I was walking by. Somebody over here said, I'm so sorry. It gets better. The second part, they said, your butt is not that big. I love it. And there was somebody over here who said something around of like, I failed art school. You don't look like a stick figure. But I love this exercise because I think it shows us how many layers of judgment we put on our own ideas before we even get them out into the world. We label it as, I'm not good at it, it's bad, it's dumb. They'll never go for it. It'll get shut down too quickly. The community won't like it. The marketplace will reject it. It'll never work before they even get a chance to breathe life. And we're leaders in this room. How are we going to create those game-changing ideas, make those shifts that we're expected to do if we're not actually getting our ideas out there? We were talking a minute ago at that table about it's all about taking action. It is. And the first step is about giving yourself and your teams permission to innovate. Now, because we're leaders in this room, I want to share a few nuggets about what permission really looks like in the real world. So I think the first thing is about open lines of communication where there's no judgment. Are you really in your organization creating an environment where people can share and foster and build ideas without judgment out of the gate? We've got to shut down that judgment if we want to move those ideas forward. And the second thing is, I think is crucial, and I see all the time in cultures of innovation, is we have to reward behaviors, not outcomes. If we want truly our people to be innovative, we need to start rewarding their behavior. And let me kind of share with you what I mean by that. So let's say Jeremy over here, hey Jeremy, God, great job. Like you're welcome. Like you totally nailed it on that. That process improvement was a huge success. And you know what? I'm gonna bring in a cake and we're gonna celebrate on Friday. Awesome job, good, right? So we reward that success. But then I go over here to Chelsea. Chelsea, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it just didn't hit the mark. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and kind of wrap it up as a lesson and put it on the failure shelf. But you know, Chelsea, I think I'm gonna put you on a lower profile project. Just, you seem overwhelmed. So we're just gonna move you over here for a little bit. And isn't that what? What's the lesson? Hey, at least you're asking, which is a whole part. Do you see what we do here, though? We wait until the outcome. And when it's success, we all go, woo! And when it's a failure, we all go, oh, let's just move them a little bit to the side. So if you're on that end of the stick, let me ask you a question. How likely are you to bring those innovative ideas forward? No. No, thank you, right? I'm just going to keep that little nugget to myself. But what if we did it a little differently? What if we did it based on behavior? So Paul, oh, hey, you know what? Good job. Thank you for speaking up and standing up in that meeting when the consensus was going in the other direction. Like, I really appreciate that you were willing to take that risk. That's great. And, let's just all recognize Paul for doing that. And hey, let's clap for him. See, it feels good. Matt's going for it. Nice. And hey, Matt, nice job. I'm so impressed that you hit that first milestone. I think we're going to give you a shout out over email just so that everybody knows that you worked really hard to get to this point. If we reward behaviors, not outcomes, we foster cultures of innovation. That's how permission really plays out for us as leaders in the real world. So the mindset is all about, number one, making sure that we recognize that every moment is an opportunity to innovate. Let Lisa kind of be our guide in that. And the second part is creating cultures of permission, giving ourselves and the people around us permission to innovate. So the second one I want to talk about is practice. Practice, practice, practice. So the mind is a lot like the body. Now, I'm not saying I've done this, but I'm saying it's possible that if you take 6 months off from the gym and don't work out, that perhaps when you go back, you're not as able to run 10 miles on the treadmill and lift 100 pounds. Is that true to say? Have anybody tried that? I tried it. It actually didn't work. And we know that, right? We live in Colorado. We know in order for our bodies to be strong, we have to eat right and we have to exercise regularly. Well, the innovative mind is very much the same way. We have to fuel it regularly. We have to practice, 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 and do what I call going to the gym of innovation, where we're always sweating it out and always trying to be innovative and be creative. And when we all go to the gym of innovation, pretty magical things can happen. Now, About a year ago, we launched something called the Innovation Quotient Edge, and it's an online assessment that tells you your unique style and strength of innovation so that you can retrain your brain to be innovative on demand. And it's really a culmination of about 20 years of research and work, because I got tired of people saying to me, oh, Tamara, if you're looking for someone who's innovative, like don't turn away from me, don't look at me, but look at Roger down the hall. He's got some blue streaks in his hair, and he's always got funky glasses, and he knows where all the cool restaurants are. He's kind of the innovative one in the group, but I'm not really. It's not in my job responsibility. So if I asked you that question, if I asked you, are you innovative, how would you answer? Like, well, ooh, I like the face with that. Yeah, ooh, maybe, kind of, I don't know, right? So I got tired of that because I never really bought into this idea that innovative thinking was just for the select few. I always believed that it was for all of us. But I have to tell you, over that research, what I found totally blew my mind and broke through some assumptions I had. So I thought leading up to it that innovation kind of happened in one way, that if we all just went down this path together, that it would work, it would happen, if we all just did these couple of things. But here's what I actually discovered. Innovative thinking is universal. We all have it in some way. Some of us have just shut it down, but we all have it. But how we innovate is actually totally unique to us. And what I discovered in this is there's actually 9 power triggers that foster our own innovative style. Now, we don't have time to go into all of them, but let me just read them for you. I think the names are pretty descriptive and can kind of tell you a little bit about what they are. So tweaker, futuristic, collaborative, experiential, inquisitive, instinctual, risk-taker, imaginative, and fluid. And here's the part where I think it gets interesting for you. 2 of those combined make your unique style and strength of innovation. So for example, I'm an experiential risk taker, which basically means I innovate hands-on, and I like to leap and be uncomfortable more than I like to be comfortable. But that's how I innovate, and if you shut that down to me, what happens? You shut down the productivity, you shut down my ability to perform at my peak, and you shut down my ability to adapt to change. And the same thing is true for all of us. If we're not playing to our strength, we're shutting down our ability to innovate, and to innovate kind of easily, because it turns out this stuff is actually kind of natural to us. We're just not all doing it all the time. And the trick with it is I found that if we figure out our strengths, if we figure out what we are more likely to go to the gym of innovation. I mean, to bring it back to the body, I'm going to tell you right now, if you tell me I have to go and row every day, I'm not going, because I'm horrible at it. But if you tell me to go and run, I'm totally up for doing it. So how do you innovate? The more we know about ourselves and how we do that, the more likely we are to engage in it every single day. Now, I know that you guys haven't taken the assessment, but here's what I'd like to do. I really like you guys to start thinking about how you innovate so that you can bring that back to your work and life and get the actual benefit from that. So to no surprise, we're going to do a little game. Here's what I'd like you to do. At your tables, I'd like you as a team to build a centerpiece with whatever you have at your disposal. I will give you 4 minutes to do that. And as you're doing it, I want you to think about how you innovate. So where am I? Okay. 18, 17. Okay, shh, stay on the table, because I would like everybody to just take a look at when I said what's available to you. Someone decided human capital, right? So give them a round of applause for that. Super creative. I love it. That's so good. So this exercise is one of my favorites for a few reasons. One, doesn't it mimic work and life a little bit? Limited time. Limited resources, which, oh, by the way, when you're thinking differently about things, turns out that they're enough, aren't they, sometimes? We always have this, I think, excuse, I don't have enough resources, but the truth is sometimes that helps us be a little more innovative and do things a little bit differently. And sometimes you pick your team, sometimes you don't, and sometimes the goal is a little bit unclear. I didn't tell you what I was looking for, did I? I just said, go ahead and do it. I didn't say I'm looking for the tallest, I'm looking for the widest, I'm looking for whatever. You don't really know. Sometimes you just kind of have to go for it. So I want you to think about while you're doing this, how did you innovate? And I'll give you some examples of things that I saw around the room. So the risk takers and the experientials, by the way, before I could finish the instructions, were already pulling stuff out of their bag and throwing stuff across the table, like they're getting into it. The inquisitives are asking questions. Tamara, just one question is this okay? Is that okay? And that's not being too detailed, by the way. Inquisitives innovate by pulling back the layers of the onion. So if you're that person that's always asking these questions when everybody else has stopped at their assumptions, know that that's okay. That's how you innovate. That's how you're actually productive. And the collaborators in the room are like, all right, guys, come on, let's get together. Let's rally, because they know that everybody has a little bit of a piece of the idea, and they want to group everyone together. So I can see it in you, and I hope you figured out a little bit about yourself and how you innovate. And if you get the launch kit that includes this that we have in the back, great. If nothing else, I just want you to think about how you innovate, find how you do it naturally, and keep doing it. Now, who wants to share with me kind of something they learned about themselves in this process? I can stare you guys down all day long. I have 2 young kids, by the way, just FYI. Someone raise their hand. Okay, I'm coming over to you. Aside from getting up on top of a table, which sounds wrong when I say it out loud, what did you learn about how you innovate?
Well, first I was looking.
Stand up so everyone can hear you.
Okay. First I was looking in my bag because I've won that game at the bridal shower. What's in your bag? Diapers, what, you know. But Frank, who's my boss, said that you do anything for the team. So that's kind of a mentality of, sure, well, let's jump in and try it,
Which could be make you experiential. Interesting, yeah.
But naturally, I'm probably a little bit more cautious, so that kind of stepping outside of your comfort zone. Too.
So that might be your latent is really great. Okay. So let's give her a round of applause. What was your name again? Tell me again.
Kara.
Kara, thank you. Hey, wait, you're not done. So I like to reward people who take action. Funny that it came from this table, as we were talking about it earlier. I think one of the big things about being innovative is taking risks and putting yourself out there, especially when it's uncomfortable and you're kind of being called on and you're kind of not sure what's going to happen next. Those are the most important times for us to step out of our comfort zone. So I'm going to give you the individual launch kit for free. So let me tell you what's in it so you know.
Okay.
So you get to know your IQE, so we'll figure out if we were right in our assessment. You get the 7-episode video series, and you get this book for free and a bunch of other bonus awesome stuff too. And it really is for innovators who are looking to be recognized as a go-to innovator in the organization and ignite change across it. So I hope that you get a ton of value out of that. Thank you for speaking up. That's great. So, a new car, woo! Everybody gets a new car. Just kidding. You get a VW there, that's that way. Okay, I digress. Go to the gym of innovation every day. We cannot do this if we shove it in a drawer and then expect it at that 3 o'clock brainstorm with scented markers and easel pads to work. It doesn't work that way. We've got to exercise it every single day. And when we do that, it becomes incredibly natural to us. It becomes second nature. And oh, by the way, here's the great thing. When you start to do it, the people around you start to do it because they're going to follow your lead. So be that ripple effect. Get everybody to the gym of innovation. Here's the thing. In the gym of innovation, everybody's responsible and everybody's accountable. Everybody goes. So I don't care if you are director, CEO, janitor, or reception or whatever. Everybody should be responsible and accountable for innovation. And if you're still not quite sure I'm right, let me give you a few examples of organizations that I think do this incredibly well.
Those of you that have flown us before know that we do things a little bit differently here on Southwest. Some of us tell jokes, some of us sing, some of us just stand there and look beautiful. I, unfortunately, can do none of those. So here's the one thing that I do know how to do. We're going to shake things up a little bit. I need a little audience participation. Otherwise, this is not going to go over well at all. So here's what I need, especially you guys in the front because you know what's coming. All right, I need a beat, all right? All I need you to do is stomp and clap, and I'm going to do the rest because I've had 5 flights today, and I just cannot do the regular boring announcement again. Otherwise, I'm going to put myself to sleep. So, you guys with me? All right. So, give me a stomp, clap, clap. Come on, stomp, clap, clap. Stay on beat there. There you go. Keep that going. This is Flight 372 on SWA. The flight attendants on board serving you today. Teresa in the middle, David in the back. My name is David, and I'm here to tell you that shortly after takeoff, first things first, there's soft drinks and coffee to quench your thirst. But if you want another kind of drink, then just holler. Alcoholic beverages will be $4. If a Monster Energy drink is your plan, that'll be $3, and you get the whole can. We won't take your cash, you gotta pay with plastic. If you have a coupon, then that's fantastic. We know you're ready to get to new places. Open up the bin, put away your suitcases. Carry on items, go under the seat in front of you, so none of you have things by your feet. If you have a seat on the road with the exit, we're gonna talk to you, so you might as well expect it. You gotta help evacuate in case we need you. If you don't want to, then we're gonna reseat you. Before we leave, our advice is put away your electronic devices. Fasten your seatbelt, then put your trays up. Press the button to make the seat back raise up. Sit back, relax, have a good time. It's almost time to go, so I'm done with the rhyme. Thank you for the fact that I wasn't ignored. This is Southwest Airlines. Welcome aboard.
Every time I fly Southwest, I'm like, is David here? Is David on this flight? I love this. And I mean, he gets an applause and he's a video. That's how good he is. But more importantly, I think this is a great example that innovation happens when everybody on the team is practicing, when everybody's going to the gym of innovation. And on a side note, I think the other lesson I hope you take away from this is that structure and innovation are actually not mutually exclusive. I mean, if you think about the airline industries, aren't they one of the most regulated industries out there? There's a reason for that. That's a safety announcement. But couldn't we also argue that that group of flyers was probably a little more safe because they might have actually paid attention to what he had to say? So in many ways, structure, and if you're in that environment, can actually help innovation thrive. We just have to find those places, and we have to get everybody involved. Can you guys smell it, the Cinnabon, when I put it up there? I heard the CEO of Cinnabon talk, Kat, and I can't remember her last name, and she told a story that I thought was so powerful. She said one of the things that she does is she goes around the country and talks to all the people on the front lines, all those cashiers and those people at those malls across America. And on one trip, she met a woman who said, hey, here's an idea. I'm finding that a lot of people aren't coming to us because it's sticky, it's messy with your hands. There's really kind of no way to take it with you. You got to sit down and eat it. What if we put them in a box and made Cinna sticks instead of Cinnabons? One little idea from one cashier in some mall in the middle of America. That idea is now, the last time I heard her speak, 1/3 of their revenue. And they are a very, very large company. Airbnb, talk about disrupting how we do things and changing what it even means to travel. So we were talking about changing what it means to be a city, a type of city. Can you rally everybody, including the people, the community, and use them as part of that change like Airbnb did? And anybody remember this brand? Do some of you even not know what it is? You're young enough? Sad, right? They're not even around anymore. Do you know why they're not around? They didn't innovate. So glad, you are so right. So, oftentimes you hear the stories and go, well, technology passed them by, and we're living in rapid-paced times, and they couldn't keep up. Well, wouldn't we agree that we're all living in rapid-paced times? And didn't they have a multi-million-dollar R&D budget? So it's not that they couldn't keep up with technology. I submit to you that they focused on the wrong thing. So instead of looking out of that box and saying, what's happening in our marketplace? Let's all go to the gym of innovation and figure this out. They actually sucked themselves inward and said, let's focus on quality. But do we want quality? No. Look at all your iPhones. We wanted accessibility to pictures. They focused on the wrong thing. So when everybody goes to the gym of innovation, you can stay ahead of the game. And when they don't, you end up like Kodak. So that leads me to my third, which is all about connect. That myth of the lone inventor in the garage, that innovator who's crazy and has wild hair and does his own thing, isn't really how it works, is it? I think we know that. We need each other to get things done. And your job as innovators and as leaders is to be that connector where innovation comes to you and it flows out of you, to build those relationships, to make that happen. Now, I want to kind of visually represent how this works. So what I would love is 4 or 5 volunteers to come up on stage. I promise I won't hurt you. Go ahead, come up. Thank you. Give her a round of applause for being the first I saw to raise her hand. Bravo. Yay. I love it too. It was like this. Do I really want to do this? Thank you. And stay on stage when I take everyone off, just as a reminder to me, okay? Come on over here. Go over here. So here. Richard, I'm going to give this. No, it's okay. I'm going to give this to you. So you'll get your memory back in like 2 days.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. What is it?
Cylinder.
Okay. What does it do?
light up at some point.
Okay, so how might you make that happen? Do it. You don't have to wait for me.
I'm just guessing.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, so if you were to try, what would that look like?
Just do
Here,
it.
give me that.
Oh,
Oh!
here we go.
So we're actually, humans are actually energy, and that's what this is, an energy stick conduct. I like to think of these like ideas, and that if we actually make those connections, those ideas actually light up. And isn't it even more powerful if we get other people involved in our ideas?
Is this going to blow up?
It's going to blow up. Only on stage. You guys are totally fine. Right? See what happens when we're all doing it now. Oh, do we have one that doesn't work? Okay. Take that off. So let me ask you another question. If you guys were to come together with it, do you think you could make it happen? Do you think you could make them light up? If you were to come together? Come together. I love this because I have no idea what they're going to do. So you can give them some help, by the way, if you want to shout out something. So they're saying, make a circuit, hold hands. Come on, keep yelling, they'll get it, come on. Try making a circle like one on each side. There you go. You got it. You're getting there.
One.
Okay, hold that one. Hold that.
Right there.
Now lift it up. You need more hand in there.
Do you remember the tweet?
Lift him up. The tweaker, lift him up. Hold hands, hold hands.
There we go.
You're gonna get it. Get that one. Someone has to hold this. Oh my God, yay, you got it. All right, don't move, stay still. Okay, I think there are a lot of lessons in this. One of them is it takes a village, right, to figure out innovative ideas and to make them work. Starting with one just isn't enough. Here's the other thing I'd like to point out as they're doing this. As it started out very like just me, just kind of individual, and maybe I'll hold one hand. And with your help, they eventually came together and worked it out. But as I talked about earlier, we have to dust off our innovation and we have to use it and move it forward. So let's give them a big round of applause for being brave enough. I want you to stay up here for a second. Okay? So when you think about innovation, you stay for a second. I want to thank you all. You can put them down or take them. That's up to you. They might be really disruptive for the rest of the day, but it's fine. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I would like to give you a reward for taking a risk too. And I love it. I don't know if you guys could see it, but she raised her hand like this. Do I want to do this? I don't know. But you know what? It always takes that first step. So I'm going to give you a launch kit as well. But for you, because this was a team thing and all about connecting and flowing, I'm going to give it to you for 5 people. So that's the team kit. Because as I talked about, oh good, yay, that was a good response. As I talked about a little bit earlier, if we can get everybody on our teams to be innovative, the transformation is incredible. And in fact, I worked with an organization recently that did it for the whole organization. And they went from having a really hard time getting ahead to being able to adapt to change very easily. And let's face it, I think as leaders and employees, what do we want from our people around us on both sides? We want them to be innovative. Cost of entry really isn't enough anymore. And our communities and our customers and our clients, they want it to. They want it too. They want us to be innovative. So I want that for you. So you take that and go enjoy it with your team. Give her a round, thank you. I love it. All right. So in connecting and in getting those ideas forward, and like I said, I talked to a lot of you. One of the things I continually heard from all of you was, we've got to get the community involved, right? We've got to energize them. We've got to get the people in our organization excited and along for the journey. So I want to share something that I learned along the way called language of innovation. And it was a hard slap across the face lesson and mistake that I made. So years ago, I was working for Johnson & Johnson. So they hired me and said, we want to build a whole new pipeline of baby products, totally take us into the future, transform what we do. And I thought, oh my God, this is like a dream project. This is amazing. So I assembled my team, and for 6 months, we worked hard. We played with toys. We jumped on cribs. We talked to dads the first time in J&J history. And we had created what I thought was an unbelievable range of new ideas for them. So we all flew into Skillman, New Jersey, to their headquarters, and we shuffled into that conference room. And I think you know the one where it's got that big wood table and those pastel pink chairs, and then all the oil paintings of CEO past, and none of them are smiling at you. So my team's up there presenting, and at the tables, our client and his boss's boss, and the VP of this department and the head of that department, all the bigwigs. And I'm so proud. My team is so, like, they're killing it. These ideas are, I'm beaming. They are amazing. But then I look over and I see my client's boss constantly whispering. Now here's the thing about him. I don't actually remember his name, but here's what I can tell you about him. He had a mustache, kind of a Magnum PI, that was so big that it moved before he spoke. So I kind of had warning every time. But he would lean into my client, he'd go, didn't John try that in 1985? Didn't a consultant give us that idea and we shelved it? Didn't Joanne do that? Didn't our competitor try that and it failed? Every idea he shut down over and over and over again. And I was so mad on the plane ride home. And I think I went through the 12 steps of anger. So I started with, how dare mustache man? He obviously should not be working in innovation at all. You know what, when I get off this plane, I'm gonna call J&J and I'm gonna tell them to fire him. Then I moved on to my poor client. Oh, well, if he can't rally his team to get the ideas and buy-in, he shouldn't be leading innovation projects. When I get off this plane, I'm gonna call them and I'm gonna tell them. Then I moved on to my poor team. Oh my God, what was I thinking? I clearly put together the wrong group of people. They totally snowed me over. This is horrible. What was I thinking? And when I get off this plane, I'm firing them all. But you know what? By the time I landed in Denver, I realized who really was at fault. It was me. We had gone on this 6-month journey of pushing the limits and coming up with new ideas and pushing the boundaries of innovation. And then we shuffled into a room and expected these people who had never heard anything about it, cold, to get the idea. Have you ever been in those meetings where you know the idea is great, you know it would have a high impact, but the person across the table from you is going, all right, not really. And you're like, I don't see it. And what Mustache Man taught me, and if anybody knows him, please thank him for me, is that innovation actually has its own language and its own rhythm. Let me show you what I mean. Here's how we typically present ideas. I go up and I say, hey guys, so I have an idea. It's this little water bottle. It actually expands if you want more space, and it heats up when it's cold and cools down when it's hot out. What do you think? All right, so there's 2 of you smiling, and the other ones are like, ooh, that's not the best idea I've ever heard. That's what happens. We present our ideas to up or down votes. And the people that love it give us a thumbs up. The 2 of them, we go, woo, let's go off in a room and celebrate. And then the people that don't, which are most of them, we go, well, they're just the yes butters, and I don't really want anything to do with them. But the truth is we need all those people. And we need to get out of presenting our ideas as an up or down vote. So I want you to write these down because these have transformed my business and others as well. Here's how I want you to do in the future. I want you to go up and I want you to say, hey, I have this idea. It's this water bottle, it expands, blah, blah, blah. What would you do to strengthen this idea? What would you do to strengthen this idea? Do you see what happens there? Now your wheels are turning. As opposed to me just presenting it to you, you are a part of the conversation. Another one is, and this is my favorite for the analytics who poke holes, and I'm married to one, so I know, they are incredibly valuable, but incredibly frustrating when you are so excited and they are so not. Here's what you say. So here's my idea. What holes do you see, and how would you fix them? Bring them into the conversation. And the last one, of course, is what do I need to say for this to be a yes to you? Let them tell you. Let them along for the journey. Innovation has its own language and its own rhythm. And when you change your language, you change your outcome. So I have one last question for you guys. If we know we should innovate, we should have the right mindset, we should practice, we should connect, why don't we do more of it? Why don't we do it more often if we know?
It's a risk.
It's a risk, yep. What else? Fear, actually, fear of how they'll respond, fear of what might actually happen, and sometimes, shockingly, fear of success. I think it also has to do with bungee jumping. Let me explain. So I was rattling along the Costa Rican highway with my good friend, and we were in this Jeep that was pretty much more duct tape than it was Jeep. But we both saw the sign on the side of the road. It said, bungee jumping, next right. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it said buggy jumping. Do you remember when your mom used to bring home, like they get a new appliance, and they'd bring home the box, and you would turn it into a spaceship and color it? That's pretty much what the sign looked like. But that's okay, we wanted it, so we veered off the highway, and we went this way, and we went that way until we landed in an abandoned shack and a dilapidated, rusty bridge. And we happened to get there at the same time as this other pair of off-the-beaten-path adventurers. And we all got out of our rented Jeeps in our lightweight matching REI travel gear. And we rolled over and we signed in and we went over to the bridge where this nice young man with a heap of equipment at his feet greeted us. And he smiled and he said, "Who wants to go first?" We all kind of looked over the bridge at the very deep ravine and the trickle of water and looked back. Let's just say I did not argue when the other people agreed to go first. And one by one, I watched them jump off the bridge in total terror, but come back up with a look of sheer joy on their faces. And then it was my turn. But here's the thing. I don't remember. I don't remember him attaching the ropes to my ankles. I don't remember him attaching those ropes to the bridge. I came to as I was being hoisted up onto the ledge with nothing to hold on to. And my legs were shaking so hard I could see them, and my heart was beating, and I was breathing hard. And he looked up at me nicely and said, "Okay, Tamara, on the count of 3, you're going to jump up and away from the bridge." I thought, okay, I can do this. Just on 3, on 3. But then he started to count. 1, 2, and I jumped. I could not wait one more second. If I had waited one more second, I would have turned back down to the safety of the bridge. And as I was being hoisted up that day, I promised myself that I would never forget that 1 second. That 1 second is the difference between doing what we know we should and want to do and brushing it under a rug. Have we ever been on that ledge of decision where you've got something you really want to push forward and you go to do it, and you go think, oh, is that some, yeah, I'm not feeling too well. I should probably wait until next week. Oh, but then Grant's out of town. Oh, and then Grandma's coming. Oh, and then it's Valentine's Day. So I'll just wait till 2017. We've all done that, haven't we? So the voice I hear in my head, and the voice that I want you to hear in your head to keep up with innovation, is jump on 2. Jump on 2. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I know I went over. I'm sorry.